Hi guys, now forgive me, I've just had a shower, so forgive me for the hairdo. But I've had to, it's obviously the video for the preview to the FIA Formula 1 World Championship Round 6, and it's the one they all want to win, the most glamorous Grand Prix on the calendar, um, the ultimate test, Monaco. It's the Monaco Grand Prix on Sunday. We just had practice because practice in Monaco is done on a Thursday rather than a Friday. Only the future race of F2 is featuring on a Friday, and Mercedes looked to be dominating this one as well. I thought this would have Red Bull all over it or written all over it, but maybe the indifferent imbalance of that Red Bull at the time, they've not been completely happy with the aerodynamic sufficiency of the car, has played it into Mercedes' hands, and Mercedes obviously been a lot more better at downforce than Ferrari, and we all know pace means nothing in Monaco in terms of power. It's all about cornering speed. Since there's no straights and virtually no places literally to overtake. Now this would be a massive celebration for Formula One, but again, tragedy. Sorry, I can't say it. The world of Formula One has been hit hard, obviously at the start of the season with Charlie Whiting's sudden death. This one was probably more, I wouldn't say more on the cards, but it looked like it was going to happen at some point, and unfortunately, Niki Lauda died early this week. Which I think wasn't I think it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before, which is a massive shock. Now, for those who don't know Niki Lauda, he was the straight-talking Austrian who sort of cemented the first rival in Formula One with him and James Hunt, which was a weird rivalry because, unlike the film Rush likes to say it's accurate, they were they were friends and deeply respectful to each other. So, which is something Rush doesn't really show. Um, but yeah, he won 3 world titles. Um, had a massive the 1976 season where Hunt won it by 1 point in the end. Lauda should have won it at a cruise, but he suffered a horrendous crash in the Nürburgring, which he promoted to be called off because of the rain. Sorry. And obviously it's dangerous enough in the dry, but to do it, and this was not the Nürburgring of the short course that they did after uh, this race. It was the Horderschleife, which is the 147 corner version of the circuit, which really took off 13 times in an F1 car. Obviously, cars are not meant to fly, so being in the wet was even more dangerous, especially in those days. And he asked for it all off. He didn't. He had a massive crash. He was given the last rights that night. Somehow he managed to fight his way about 6 weeks later back on the grid to come forth and keep his title hopes alive in the Italian Grand Prix, which just obviously he was already a folk hero to Ferrari, by winning the championship before the season before, but just made him just surmounted him in Formula One as an incredible sportsman, and he was straight up honest. And us British fans have a lot to thank Niki Lauda as well, because yes, he gave James Hunt almighty scare in trying to win the championship, which he would have won anyway. But unfortunately, he stopped. He was the only driver I can recall in Formula One who stopped because the conditions were too dangerous. with a title on the line, with everything on the line. And some people criticised him for that. So like I remember watching a docu a documentary film, One Life on the Limit. If you're an F1 fan, watch it. It's a really good watch. One of the mechanics said, "I'll never forgive him for what he did," and I'm like, "Well, get in the car and you drive it then. You put your life on the line." In the end, he said it was too dangerous, and it was too dangerous. In any other Grand Prix in today's world, it would have been called off, but because of TV rights, it had to be shown. So, but yeah, what I was saying about the British fans is that he was the one, and Hamilton said this in his tweet, that he was the one that convinced Hamilton to join Mercedes. Everyone thought at the time it was down to money, but he showed them what Mercedes were planning with the new regulations. Said, look, basically said to him, sacrifice next season because we've got a package which could dominate if we play it right. And yeah, it was his main sort of, he was the main instigator to get Hamilton at Mercedes, and obviously look where Hamilton is now. And you could tell how Hamilton was upset because Bottas took the press conference. It was supposed to be Hamilton. He didn't take it. And very emotional Hamilton. Is a very fast Hamilton from past experience. And both sessions, I believe both sessions he topped fastest. Might if I am wrong in that, please let me know. But yeah, so Mercedes look like they're trying to go all out to win this one. As well as it being the Monaco Grand Prix, they want to win it because it's a tribute to Niki Lauda. But yeah, so like I said, it's the one they all want to win. Last year was probably, apart from Ricardo's problem halfway through the race, was a bit of a bore. Hamilton, I remember saying last year it was the most boring race he'd ever driven, and he finished third. So hopefully it's a bit more of an exciting Monaco Grand Prix. Usually it is, because you usually get some drivers having accidents, and there was a very lack of accidents in that Grand Prix last year. And when there was an accident and then there was a safety car called, it didn't play any advantage to anyone. So um, as much as and but as much as they're saying that, you also want to see a close battle up the front. And the way practice looks like, again, Ferrari, I don't I don't quite get what has happened to Ferrari. I really can't work it out. Why is it they've gone from being looking like the ones where it was going to be Mercedes going to be having to struggle to catch them up, to now being so far behind them? I think 96 points I said in the table, the Constructors' Championship, and not one Grand Prix, not even got a second place this far this season. It's just incredible, especially compared to last season where they were more on level terms with Mercedes. And the season before, Mercedes were faster in 2017. They just had to drag every single bit of it out the car to keep up with them. So it's quite astonishing. It really is quite astonishing, and quite saddening in a way as an F1 fan, because you want to have a close battle up the front. But it will also be interesting to see the midfield. Hopefully, it'd be a two-stop race. I'm more thinking it's going to be a one-stop the way it looks like. Yeah, it's I think it's the 77th Monaco Grand Prix now. Again, if I'm wrong, please correct me. Hoping it's going to be a close, tight, and action-packed race. Basically, would all like to see some shunts in that Grand Prix. Let's be honest, we all do like to see that. Because then you probably also get to it was a bit of a bore last year, the fact that it was supposed to be the most hardest circuit to drive, and yet there was hardly any accidents. So yeah, it's also an example of why I would like F1 circuits to be how they used to be back in the day, where you didn't have runoff areas, you had gravel traps. You didn't have um, the old swimming pool section. It didn't open up to have a little runoff area. It was literally a wall in front of you, and then a wall in front of you there, and you had to slow down. You literally had to slow down, not just fly through the bumps as you do now. So it does wind me up a bit where you get circuits like France now. You see how far the barriers are away from the fastest part of the circuit, and not one gravel trap. Gravel traps were there because if you're the fastest drivers in the world and you're the best drivers in the world, you shouldn't need the gravel trap. You shouldn't need to hit the grass. You should be able to keep the car on the track. And if you make the mistake and you get stuck in the gravel trap, then that's your punishment. And then so now these days they seem to be able to push a lot harder because they know they can get away with it in most circuits. But I'd like to see the odd gravel trap like Parabolica. They put a bit of a runoff before the gravel trap. Whereas back in the day, if you got it wrong, you were in the gravel trap and you're out. But that's what I loved about it, and that's what was good about it. It puts the pressure on them, and then you get to see more mistakes because they try to, when they do overstep the mark, you don't see them just skate off the road and have another go. They end up taking the punishment. So, but yeah, but unfortunately, the way health and safety is going, that's the way it's going to be. So yeah, looking forward to Grand Prix. Let me know what you think towards Grand Prix. Do you think that it'd be a close one? Do you think Ferrari will bring an answer to Mercedes, or do you actually believe that this morning was just again Mercedes dominating this pretty much what they've been doing all season, dominate, which and leave all your thoughts and tributes to Niki Lauda in the comments below, and I'll speak to you guys soon.